now for the challenging part is to make something with a lot of those different filters and adjustments in it. And I want you to take your cue from the abstract artist of the 1960s, and you might choose someone like Joseph Albiers. I've got a little book of ideas for you to look at, and I'm going to show you all the different ones that I have here. Here are my layers, and I have quite a few different ones. So the first one is Equalized, and gradient map I liked. I chose the gradient map. Instead of doing something really wacky here, you can see what you've got there as choices. If you don't have any choices show up, you click here, and you can go and try some of these new gradients instead of replacing them appended, and that just means that more gradients will show up there for you to choose from. So I chose one of these photo looking gradients here, which were quite nice. Now it might be an adjustment that you really like. So there's the one that I got. Threshold, then made it completely black and white like a poster. Posterize limits the colors, and invert changes it like a negative. So I've got all those different ones there. And if you did someone like Joseph Albiers, he did a homage to the square, which was really quite an easy way to go. So I would want to crop it if I decided to do his, and I'll do that just as an example here because it's really probably the easiest. So I want to make it about square. So cropping that there, and then I'm going to click there, and that will crop it. All right, and then we could rename it and resave it. So I'm going to call it Albiers. All right, and what he did is that he created a variety of squares. And I'm just going to approximize for you. And say that this is going to be, this Equalized is going to be my outside layer. Then I'm going to cut away what's inside it. And it's only going to cut that first layer there. So I can then continue to do that. See, I'm going to the next layer, and I'm using the square, and I can continue to cut, and go down to the next layer, continue to cut. Of course, you probably won't use all the layers, and I'm not even choosing layers now, just to show you how that would work if I was going to do, see, I was on the wrong layer, so I need to undo. Cut the black. And there would be a homage to a square picture. And I could continue to do that just like Albiers did, and have that as your abstract photograph. All right. That allowed me to go back and open up what I just had, which I called it rules. Cancel. And I could actually start over again. That's not really what I want to do. I'm just going to step backwards and go back to where I was before I cut all those pieces out. So I could show you some other ways of working. All right, you have some shape tools here. You have circles, you have single rows, you have octagons, you have this as well. So if you have, say, a triangle shape and you want to make a triangle onto your photograph, you could do that and cut out that shape. Cut out whatever shape that you want out of each piece. And I just cut it out of the wrong one because you can't see it. Let's go back to the top one. So probably the thing that you would want to do first is decide which one of these that you really like and which one that you would like to use in your piece. You may not use them all. You might, depending on what you would like to make as your abstract. When you're done cutting out different layers, come back to this one. Let's save it as something else so I can keep coming back to it. You might then go and let's open up the original one that I just cut for you a minute ago. Play with something else. And I don't know why that is not showing. May I accidentally cut it? Let's open up the Albiers in this one right quick since that one's trying. Desktop, photos, Albiers, desktop, photos, Albiers. Having trouble opening it still. Do me any good because it's arguing with me. Albiers open. Okay, another thing that you might try to do with each of your layers once you've got that far is add a filter to it. So over here under filter, if you go to filter gallery, there is a lot that you can play with in each one of your levels as well. So for the first filter, this happens. You could try glass, or you could come up here under artistic and try a cutout, or any of these different things, because remember you are abstracting the piece from your original filter to try all these different things that you can do in Photoshop and try to get an interesting effect. So if I went to sponge, which wouldn't be a bad thing to do with that, then the outside of my picture looks like that. If I was going to print it and I zoomed in, there is the sponge effect compared to the other effects all the way across lines. All right, have fun. When you get done, we will save these and we'll decide which things that we want to print when we're finished.